Bro, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. When it comes to Genshin filler patches, I'm gonna be real. I always ask myself, with all the content, with all the lore in the game, how have we not gotten like interesting lore quests? Or like, let's say you just did. We just got done. Well, they just got done with Natlan, right? Where's DAINSLEIF at, bro? Like, well, how are they not utilizing him? Instead of a dead patch, bro, why are we not utilizing the one most interesting and mysterious character who could drop some lore bombs, keep people excited for the game? Like, why are we not using DAINSLEIF at all? And the crazy thing is you couldn't even say that it wouldn't make sense because we just got done fighting the Abyss in Natlan. So you can't even say that as an excuse it wouldn't make sense for him to show up. We are 2 patches away from Shesnaya and well, not even 2. We're 1 patch. Well, whatever. How many other patches away before we get Shesnaya and freaking Conria? And who knows if they'll let us go to Celestia to fight whoever, whatever they're going to do with the story. Like, what is going on? Like, this game is cooked because for some reason, bro. And I don't know why. It's like they've shown with Fontaine that they could do a good story. They've shown it, man. And with Natlan's story being garbage, and then they throw a filler patch right afterwards. What are we doing? What are we doing, man? All right, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes.
Every time Genshin Impact drops yet another dry filler patch, the debate resurfaces like clockwork. Some players claim that they love these dry filler patches, say they need them. Their logic, it gives me time to catch up. They use this.
My question to that is, what are we catching up to? Like, what are we catching up to? I need to know what we're catching up to, because after you're done doing the main story quest, outside of maybe the character story quests, and maybe the mini games, which a lot of people don't play anyways, what are we catching up to? Like, the R&R quest that everybody hates? Oh my god.
It's downtime to clear story quests they ignored for months, finish exploring the 75% of the map they barely touched, or finally build that character they pulled 6 banners ago but never actually used.
I still am mad that they screwed Dea's kid up, bro. She's... Dea could have been amazing. She really could have. This character has one of the most interesting designs, not to mention was actually a major plot, a major character in the story when it came to Sumeru, and they released her like she was just garbage, bro. Like, I still hate the fact that they still haven't fixed her yet. They fixed Zhongli, but for some reason, I guess we didn't make enough outrage for Dea, or nobody made any outrage at all. But oh my god, I pulled her and I got lucky. I'm gonna be real. I got her on 1 pull, so that's the only reason I have her. But I was like, man, bro, like, what are y'all doing?
But then there's the other side. The people looking at this
generational talent, bro.
You're celebrating the fact that a game has nothing to do. That's not a feature, that's a problem. Because if the best thing about a patch is that it lets you ignore it, what does that say about the state of the game? This isn't just a casual debate, it's a fundamental question about game design.
Yeah.
Are these dry patches actually beneficial to the player's experience, or are they just a symptom of creative stagnation? Because it's
like, you want a good dry patch, or you want a good filler patch, go to Honkai Star Rail. Like, we're talking story. After you get done with Penacony, the Zheng Zhao story was good. Or if you want a good patch that has, filler patches, they would call it, Withering Waves. 2.1 has been amazing. It actually keeps the people interested in the game. People ain't out here, logging off to go play other stuff because the patch is so boring that they don't want to do it. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
At some point you have to
I gotta ask the question, what are they doing with DAINSLEIF, bro?
Let's break it down. First of all, I'm not a game
Haven't seen that man in a long time.
For a gaming company yet, but come on, how hard is it for HoYoverse to make a decent patch? This is the same company that shamelessly lifts ideas from other games and anime, waters them down, and calls it a day. They have the money, the resources, and the industry dominance to make every patch at least solid. So why are we still getting filler, and why are you still liking it? And let's not act like this is a new issue, by the way. The pattern has That's been obvious since launch. Every new region gets a big Archon quest from point 0 to point 3, and then we hit Lantern Rite as a nice little distraction, right? And then 3 to 4 months of nothing.
Yeah,
No meaningful
which is
story.
really bad. That's bad. That's really bad. I can understand maybe a couple of weeks of nothing, but this is a billion-dollar company. Why the fuck are we going 3 to 4 months of just filler? That's like the equivalent of back when Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach were airing at the same time, and during like the most important arcs, like the Arrancar arc, the Fourth Great Ninja War, they were just throwing filler out there in the middle of some of the most important arcs. Now, obviously, Genshin's not doing it during the Natlan class, thank God, but that's like the equivalent of this in a nutshell. People did not like that filler, by the way. I want to just let y'all know the Bleach filler during that point in time, specifically the Bount arc, that was trash. And then whatever filler they were doing during the Naruto Great Fourth Ninja War with the Infinite Tsukiyomi, oh my god. The fact that I had to sit through that, because back then, you know, Crunchyroll, A, was a pirate site, and B, you had to watch the episodes as they came out. Oh, Lord. And you could say, oh, you can't compare anime to freaking Genshin Impact. It's a game versus an anime. And you are right. In fact, it's actually worse because you got Genshin Impact, which is a, you know, or Hoyoverse in general, which is a $30 billion company, if not more at this point. So they got the money, the resources, and everything to do to make a filler patch actually good, but they decide not to. Versus with animation studios, especially ones that are just starting up, you know, it's like they ain't got that kind of money. They ain't got the resources like they do. They gotta be going crazy. Like anybody who knows about how Japan and makes their anime and how crazy it is to be an animator over there would know that that shit is wild work. That shit is wild. In fact, we should, like, a lot of people criticize sometimes about how anime be bad, you know, animation and whatnot, but you gotta think about, like, animators, man, they be struggling, bro. They be struggling. And then you got Genshin Impact where they can't even put in a simple skip button with $30 million or $30 billion. Let's get it right. $30 billion.
Substantial content, just events that feel like the developers opened a Google Doc labeled recycled gameplay ideas and picked one at random. In Inazuma, it's the same cycle. In Sumeru, it's the same cycle. In Fontaine, is it the same cycle? Wait, hold on. Something might change here. No, it's the same cycle. Again, and again. And now with Natlan on the horizon, are we really just going to sit here like good little boys and accept this as normal? Let's put it in perspective. Genshin Impact is a $1 billion game. $1 billion. They have the kind of money that should let them obliterate the concept of filler patches entirely. Yet here we are acting like it's reasonable for them to stretch out content just to keep players engaged on fumes. At what point do we stop treating this as inevitable and start holding them accountable for it?
Honestly, and I'm gonna put my conspiracy theory cap on, I wonder if they do these filler patches, because they got 2 other games that they gotta work on. I wonder if they do these filler patches on purpose to make you bored on purpose, so that you would go to Honkai Star Rail and Withering Waves and play those games while they give their money to those games. We already know that Genshin is the cash cow, and they give the money that they make over to Honkai Star Rail and, you know, Withering Waves. And honestly, I think Honkai Star Rail is kind of becoming the cash cow now because of all the greedy stuff that they've been doing. But I wonder if they do these filler patches so that you get bored on purpose. Unless you're part of their content creation program, well then at that point you're kind of cooked, because that means you can play nothing but Genshin Impact. But I wonder if they do this on purpose to make you play the other 2 games, like literally forcing you to play the other 2 games that they have, because it doesn't make sense for them to be doing this at all. 4 to 5 months of just filler. It's the reason why a lot of people don't even play the game every day anymore. Like me, I hop on the game maybe once every a blue moon. Like I do the Natlan quest or I did the Fontaine quest and I didn't touch it for a year. I still haven't done the Natlan quest technically yet. I still haven't done it. Like I don't even know. I don't even know, man. It doesn't make sense. Once again, that's my conspiracy. I wonder if they actually do these filler patches on purpose so that you go and get bored enough to the point where you play Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero, which is still bad, by the way. For a $1 billion company, that's still bad, but I digress.
But let's get something straight. Filler patches aren't just a minor inconvenience, they actively harm the game. People say, oh, it gives us time to catch up. No, that's just coping. These updates aren't designed to respect your time, they designed to waste it. Filler patches recycle old content and stall the narrative. Instead of meaningful additions, we get rerun events, time-gated fetch quests, and lore drops that barely add anything. Imagine if your favorite anime just stopped progressing the plot for months. Would you call that good writing? No! Then why do we let HoYoverse get away with it? Oh, it's because it's an anime, it's not a gacha game. You don't understand. No, you don't understand, Sip Steven. Stop defending your billion-dollar company. Hold them accountable. These dry patches lead to creative stagnation. When the game goes silent, players stop logging in, momentums die, and the engagement drops. There's a reason people joke that Genshin is in maintenance mode half the time. If nothing interesting happens, why should players care? Low-effort patches compromise quality. If mediocrity becomes the standard, it spreads into everything. Storytelling mid, combat mid, events mid, even the character designs mid. If HoYoverse can push out bare minimum update and still make millions, what incentive do they have to innovate? You Genshin players deserve high.
They have zero incentive to innovate, and the fact that they put this you know what this mini game is? This is like a mobile game inside of a mobile game. That's what this is. Like this, I don't know why, bro? They could have done anything else. I don't know what they're trying to cook with this.
Quality patches, not placeholders. Genshin is one of the top games in its genre. That means expectations should be higher, not lower. With the money and influence HoYoverse has, there is no excuse for them to operate like a struggling indie studio. If filler patches are their norm, it's not because they have to be, it's because they choose to be. Better updates keep the community engaged. People don't log in just to exist in the game. They need content that actually adds value. New stories, mechanics, and something to look forward to. That is not a radical demand, that's just basic game design.
Yeah, and Fontaine did it really well. Fontaine actually kept me interested for a while. But now it ain't looking like it's keeping me interested right now. And that filler patch that they just came out with was even worse. I think the funny thing is that they had at the end of that live stream that I skimmed over, they had the freaking NPC characters praising the devs. Which was something else, man.
And let's be clear, not every patch has to be a game changer, but if a billion-dollar company can't even guarantee that their off patches would still be good, what are we even doing here? But you might need receipts, so let me give you one. The newest Genshin update, the Genshin 5.4, is what happens when a game stops trying. Actually, they stopped trying a few while ago, but now it's getting up again.
I'm about to say, yeah, they stopped trying years ago, bro. Years. The only thing they really gave effort to, I'm gonna be real with you, is somewhat the story up to Fontaine. Like the main Archon quest story, they kind of actually cared a little bit about that, up to the point where they did that masterpiece called Fontaine. But as far as the game mechanics go, still can't. You're still running out of stamina just by running. Still can't freaking climb without losing a lot of stamina. You got characters basically locking travel progression behind $300 a character. Like once again, we have people making travel teams, bro. Like, I don't know if I need to go any further than that. And then these filler patches, like, remember, if anybody who played Genshin before, remember that filler patch we got that was talking about DAINSLEIF and how we found that one Conrian and his kid? That was an interesting patch. That kept me engaged. Even though it was a really short patch, that kept me hyped, bro. I don't know what they're doing now.
Characters Yume Mizuki is immediately getting dumped into the standard banner, the patch after this one, which is basically HoYoverse admitting that, yeah, she's not worth pulling. And who the hell is even Sidgewini, bro? Who actually want her, bro? Come on. The only
that's
good
crazy.
unit this patch, a rerun character, Furina.
Which is wild. I'm glad I pulled her, bro. The ability to be able to walk on water like that is crazy, not to mention that Furina is one of the best written characters in the whole entire game, bro. Top 5. No, not even top 5. She's probably the #1 best written character in the whole entire game. Outside of, and then you could probably make Kazuha as an honorable mention. And shit, who's the third one that I would say is pretty good? DAINSLEIF, I would say, is pretty good written. Well, he's not a playable character though, not yet. But I don't know, man.
Hey, what about the events though? Hours worth of Yap Fest. And then
Yeah.
a PNG
Yap
of
Fest that
Aether
you
or
can't even
Lumine
skip
taking a
too.
bath with some Inazuma characters. Yay! A PNG so happy.
Now, from what I've heard, I think that they're trying to do this to give Raiden Shogun more character development because she didn't get much of that in her story quest or in the main quest. So I heard that's probably why they're doing that. But even still, doing this filler quest, really bad idea. Really, really, really bad idea.
A TCG update that nobody asked for. UOL features that should have existed 4 years ago. This is
I still say to this day that they should have made that TCG a whole different game. They have the money to be able to do it, and they clearly got it in here to work properly. So I don't know why they didn't just make it a different game. Why would you put it inside Genshin? It doesn't make sense. I know that apparently the Chinese community likes card games, and that's fine. But why did we put it in Genshin? Nobody really even plays games like that. Especially in an open world RPG. What are we doing? Make it a separate game, bro. They could have made hella money off of that. I'm gonna be real. If they had made that a card game, could have had you would have been competing with the new Pokemon TCG game that would have been out right now.
an innovation, it's housekeeping. So what do you do after finishing all the quote-unquote content? You log in daily and do your dailies. Yep, isn't that exciting? Only in Genshin, where they are still making the savior of nation run food deliveries. That's right, the same protagonist who has fought gods, saved civilization in Liya, and defied fate itself by fighting the god of Inazuma is being asked to—
I'm gonna be real with you when I say that the Traveler should have a lot more clout than what he has, bro. I'm gonna be real. Aether or Lumine, whoever you play, should have a lot more clout. Like, you go and play Withering Waves. After we got done beating the first boss from 1.0 story, bro, your name is known everywhere far and wide. They got you doing quests that actually matter. Like, they ain't got you doing fetch quests and stuff like that. Like, our clout level in freaking Renacida or Raguna is sky high, bro. Like, our clout is everywhere. And then you go into this game, and they don't even give a shit, bro. Oh, you just fought the freaking Raiden Shogun? No big deal. Here, I want you to do some fetch quests real quick. Oh, you just basically helped save all of freaking Leeway? No big deal. Shit. Hell, you can take Fontaine, for example. You basically... I mean, Fontaine, I feel like that was mostly Farina. I can't really give the clout for him on that, but, like, even still, and I know that's going to be people in my comment section who see this video and talk about, well, the Traveler is supposed to be a witness and yada, yada, yada. Bruh, we out here fighting gods at this point. Let's be real with ourselves, especially when it comes to Natlan. The dude is literally actively fighting the Abyss, or at least helping. Where's our clout at?
to do insignificant and uninspiring fetch quests. What are we doing? And let's also talk about how painful it is to play your game daily. Genshin, your dailies take so long compared to other games. It's insane. In HSR, you can just spend your energy and be done with your dailies. In Zelda Zone Zero, you can just scratch a card, go coffee, spend your energy, and then be done with your dailies. In Wuthering Waves, you can also do the same thing. So why can't you do the same thing, Genshin? God, why does it have to be commission quests? 4 of them. This patch isn't just dry. It's a wasteland, and people are defending this. Why? You know what? I know the answer. It's because we've been trained to expect mediocrity. They are treating you like dogs. They're telling you to sit, roll over, take this filler patch, take this filler patch, take this filler patch. Oh, somewhere along the way,
I mean, if you really think about it, what they did was genius, like from a marketing standpoint. They got their audience. They done this so many times that they've got their audience from 2020 all the way up to this point to basically see this as normal, even though this is not supposed to be normal. Like, you should not be getting garbage filler patches within 4 to 5 months after an Archon quest with a $30 billion company. That should not be the case whatsoever. They should be able to put some time and effort into these patches, even if it's not an Archon quest. Once again, my question from the beginning of this video, where the hell is DAINSLEIF at? What do they got him doing? What do they got this man doing, bro? Like, where are all the awesome lore drops that we were getting? Where's all the stuff that kept us interested in the game and wanting to come back? Because right now, as far as what I'm seeing, I ain't seeing nothing to come back to.
Players decided that, well, at least it's better than nothing. It's not good enough, and Hoyoverse knows it. At some point,
And then the worst part is not only is there nothing to come back to, for me at least, but then on top of that, these new characters, at least for me, are so uninteresting that I'm not even bothering to do the events anymore to get the Primo Gems to summon for the feature characters. That's how bad this is. Because normally, even if there's nothing to do, sure, I'll just do these quests, knock them out, and then log off. Bro, the quest looks so uninspired at this point, and there's nothing to keep me interested, man. There just isn't. So what are we doing? Like, it doesn't make sense.
To stop excusing laziness and start demanding better. Because if we don't, this is the future of Genshin. Empty patches, recycled content, and a dev team that gets away with doing the bare minimum while still
They're
making
already getting
billions
away
of
with that.
balloons. And I don't know about you, but I expect better than that. Alright, let's talk about Wuthering Waves 2.1. Some people might look at this patch and go, well, it's just another dry filler patch like Genshin. And to that I say, are we actually playing the same game?
Shit, no, bro. 2.1's out there doing...
It is far from dry. First of all,
2.1 out putting content.
It's actually fun. Somehow they took one of the most overused filler mechanics in gaming and made it satisfying. It's a relaxing side activity that doesn't feel like a waste of time, even though it probably is. Honestly, 10 out of 10. Would abandon every Hoyoverse game for this. Oh my god. And then we got the new zones like the Riccioli Islands or the underground vaults. Those give players a fresh world to explore. It's not just some empty land thrown in for the sake of content padding. It actually adds to the exploration loop. The combat updates, look, I'm not gonna lie, the new hologram boss is a menace. The kind that makes you reconsider your life choices mid-fight. Do I hate the off-screen mechanics? Absolutely. Do I also respect the challenge? Yes. It forces you to step up your game, and I'd rather take that than another mindless damage sponge, okay? Now let's be real, Whimpering Waste is a weak spot. It's not bad, but compared to the roguelike mode like we had before, it feels like a downgrade. If this mode has the punch of the Somnium Labyrinth thing, it would have had a home run. But hey, it has a lot of potential, so let Kuro Games cook. Moving on, we have Peevee. I don't care if you pulled for her or not, this character is a 10 out of 10. Flashy, fluid, and she hits like a truck. Or at least she looks like she hits like a truck.
But this character is so freaking... This character is not only adorable as hell, but her gameplay is just fun to play. Normally the characters, at least that I have, like Chang Li or whatnot, you know, the close combat characters, you know, go in and go crazy, Virgil and all that. Usually I'm more interested in those characters than the characters that fight from a long range. But somehow they made Phoebe's gameplay, even though she's more of a long range mage character, somehow they did it and made her character actually not only interesting, but her gameplay interesting. Like, I don't know how they did it, but they did it, man. And we're about to get Zani next. Shit, they ain't ready, man.
She's one of those rare characters that feel good to play, even if she wasn't meta-breaking. If you like Frieren, the anime, she attacks like Frieren. She's like, Zoltrak. That's awesome. But also, Wuthering Waves knows how to make their characters exciting while not completely breaking the meta balance. And then we got the QOL upgrades. Echo loadouts, finally. After 4 years, we finally got... Wait, wrong game, sorry.
Yeah, I'm about to say, wait, wrong game, bro. Wrong game, my buddy.
If you yourself humming a game's main theme like the Arena Seats music in the shower, that's how you know the OST is solid. And I've been doing a lot of that, honestly. So does 2.1 have flaws? Yes. Ray tracing, pretty mid, and it's locked behind a high-end GPUs, which...
And we still got to deal with the fact that the tuners is a thing, and the echo experience is a thing. Those are also problems that we got to worry about, that are currently being talked about. I actually made a video on that, if you want to go ahead and watch. But, I mean, nobody really said Wuthering Waves was perfect to begin with. It's just better than whatever the hell Genshin's doing right now.
I guess it's kind of normal. Also, there's no wings in the 1.0 zones, which feels like a
They
cool
need to
joke
just
at this
add
point.
that.
Going back to the old areas without the wings.
They need to just add that. I mean, the transversal was already good anyways, but having wings and then going back to 1.0 areas and not having the wings kind of just, it feels bad a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. It feels bad, but hey, I will give them this. At least they didn't lock any of those behind their characters. Because in freaking Genshin, you're cooked if you don't got Mavika and you don't drop $300 to get her C6 to make it to where she can ride her bike and fly everywhere. Why did they allow her to fly with a bike? I will never understand that. You basically made Scaramouche, Kazuha, or anybody else who had that kind of feature useless. Because Malvika, not only could you move fast, so Yelan and all those other fast-moving characters are useless to have now, but then the character can fly, so now characters like Kazuha, characters like Scaramouche, you know, hell, even the bird freaking lady with the glasses is useless now because you just got a character like that where even at C0, you basically just get to fly around, not for a long period of time, obviously, but if you get her at C6, it's like, okay, now you just got infinite flight and all this. I'm like, what are we doing, bruh? What are we doing?
Wings feels like moving through mud, and at this point, I'd rather fast travel everywhere than deal with the agony of Free 2.0 movement. But here's the thing, even with these issues, it's still an 8 out of 10 update. It's still good. This isn't a patch that just keeps the game on life support. It's a functional, engaging update and actually gives players something to do. If this is Wuthering Waves on an off patch, a filler patch, I'd take it over Genshin Impact's entire yearly content cycle. Here's the thing, filler patches don't have to be bad. When done right, they can actually improve the game. But that only happens when a developer actually listens to feedback and put in the effort. And when they do, a few key things happen. First, the game becomes more polished. Addressing issues, refining mechanics, and fixing bugs means that when the next major update drops, it is built on stronger foundations. It is the difference between a well-maintained house and one with a leaking roof and questionable wiring. One will last, the other's a disaster waiting to happen. Second of all, players actually feel valued. It's not rocket science when devs acknowledge feedback and act on it. Players trust them more. That trust turns into higher engagement, better retention, and positive word of mouth. You know, the bare minimum for a healthy live service game. Maybe you can get a St. Tontus in Genshin soon. Well, maybe not soon, but one day we can hope. Third, a good
That's
filler
crazy.
keeps the community engaged. Not every patch has to reinvent the wheel, but meaningful side content, fun events, quality of life improvements, actual substance keeps players logging in. Instead of treating the game like an on-again, off-again relationship, you don't want your player base to feel like they're enduring patches instead of enjoying them. And finally, it builds reputation for responsiveness. When people see their feedback turning into real changes, they stop assuming developers are just milking the game dry. Wuthering Waves has already shown that you can deliver downtime patches without making them feel like dead air. The question is, why isn't Hoyoverse doing the same thing? At the end of the day, a good filler patch isn't just a placeholder, it's an investment in the game's longevity.
Yeah,
But if
basically.
developers treat it like a throwaway update, that's exactly what it becomes. We have to stop pretending that mediocrity.
Like, the thing with Genshin's filler patches compared to Wuwa's is Wuwa's you actually want to play them. Genshin's filler patches, you basically look at them and be like, oh, filler patch? Alright, I'm gonna get off the game and play something else. Which is, I mean, that's up to you. But if for a live service game, that's bad. You want to keep people in your game, not kick them out, not bore them to death. Unfortunately, that's what they're doing in Genshin Impact. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. But then again, they got a kind of mini monopoly of their own, obviously, with HSR. But shit, I don't know, man. With HSR, they got their own issue they got to deal with this, new character that they're supposed to come out with who apparently just power creeps the whole entire game. So, who knows? Endless Zone Zero might be the last bastion of hope, but who knows? Shish. We already know that give it a couple of months, they'll do the same thing to Zenless, and at that point, then, well, you might as well just start playing freaking Punishing Grey Raven. You might as well start playing Punishing Grey Raven and freaking Withering Waves, and then you already know what Kuro's gonna do. They're gonna come out of nowhere and talk about some, hey, look, we got a game that looks like Honkai Star Rail, but isn't, pay to win. And yeah, you already know how that all goes. At that point, the official war will have begun, bro.
It's acceptable just because it's familiar.
At
A
that,
smaller company like
at that point, you think the Kuro versus Hoyoverse war was bad before? If like,
actual quality of life improvements, then there is zero excuse for a billion-dollar company like Hoyoverse to keep serving up dry, uninspired content and expecting people to be grateful. Hoyoverse is a company with the resources, the talent, and the infrastructure to push out updates that actually matter. But instead, they're serving us the same reheated leftovers, and people are lining up to defend it. At some point, you have to ask yourself, are you genuinely satisfied with what you're getting, or have you just been conditioned to expect less? I've said this millions of times already. Live service games thrive on engagement, players having reason to log in beyond just maintaining their daily streak. But when patches start to feel like obligations instead of experiences, that's a problem. And the most frustrating part, it's not that Hoyoverse can't do better, it's that they choose not to. Because here's the truth, you shouldn't have to lower your standards just because you're used to disappointment. Expect more, demand bigger, because if we don't, nothing changes.
I'm gonna be real. I think that Genshin's just beyond saving at this point. I think they're beyond saving. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Honkai Star Rail is kind of almost getting to that point. In fact, I think if they come out with the character that this new character that they're coming off, man, if it drops in the game, shit, Honkai Star Rail might be just as cooked as Genshin, bro. If it drops the way it is right now, it's not looking good. But as far as just Genshin Impact itself, it's looking like it's cooked. They're not trying with the Archon quest no more for some reason. Like, from what I'm hearing, it's really bad, which is why it's, a lot of outrage going on right now. And then they're dropping a filler patch right afterwards. And it's like, bro, where the frick is DAINSLEIF? Where's all the excitement that you guys were building up before? When you had filler patches and you had those kind of patches where it's like, okay, DAINSLEIF's going to pop up. You know, you're gonna have something to talk about in between patches. Versus now, where it's like, oh, I might as well just play anything else but Genshin because these filler patches are gonna last until we get Chesnaya now. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, man? I don't know. I think the game is cooked, which really sucks because it has a lot of potential. The way I see Genshin Impact was the way I saw the sequel trilogy with Rei, Finn, and that whole entire cast. Like, the first movie that they came out with was good, and then the other two, they just didn't try anymore. They didn't try anymore, and it's like, well, oh well. But hey, I wonder what you guys think. Leave a comment down below, like all that stuff. You know, kind of sucks that that's what they're getting as far as filler patches and whatnot. But hey, it is what it is, you know. Hoyo do Hoyo things. I'll see you guys in the next one.